Hello, my people. Good day to you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time zone you're listening to this, thank you for tuning in every single day to listen to me on Daily Mind Shift. My name is Michael Ojola for Mindset Transformation Africa, and on today's episode, I want to talk about value, especially in caring for other people. Let me anchor today's episode on this statement. The value in taking care of others is that we get value back in the process, often more than we give. There is a value in taking care of others, and it is that we get value back in the process, often more than we give to them. So I want to welcome you once again. Now, what I just said is not a slogan, all right? It is not a motivational meme. It is a mindset. It is a reality. And if you let it shift your mind, if you let it in, it will shift the way you interact with people in your life, even the strangers that you pass by. Let me talk about what this really means just a little, because it is deeper than being a nice person. It is not just about giving charity or offering favors, okay? It is about living with an awareness that we are all interconnected, and when we pour into other people, we are actually feeling something in ourselves. Let me start with something fundamental and foundational. We are wired to give. That is natural to us. We are wired to give. No matter what you believe in spiritually, psychologically, or socially, human beings are designed for community. And in community, care is the currency. All right? When you are in a community, care is the currency. Taking care of other people doesn't just shift the person on the receiving end. It regulates your own emotions. It strengthens your sense of identity. It gives you a deeper sense of purpose. Science calls this the helper's high. That particular dopamine surge of feel-good chemicals in the brain when you do something kind, when you do something generous. But beyond the chemicals, all right, there is something sacred about it. You begin to feel useful again. You begin to feel connected again. You feel like your life matters, not because of how much you have, but because of how much you are offering to other people. You spend so much of our lives, we spend so much of our lives chasing happiness in things, in titles, in achievements. But often, the very thing we are looking for, it is hidden in the smile of someone we helped. It is in the quiet thank you of someone we encouraged. It is in the healing moment when we show up for someone who thought they were forgotten. Let me be clear. Serving other people doesn't make you smaller, all right? It makes you stronger. The world often tells us that if you focus on other people too much, you will lose yourself. Yes, that can be true because the key word there is too much. But in my experience, and I bet it in yours too, the opposite is quite true. When you give, you grow. When you serve, you stretch. When you look out for other people, something in you comes alive. Think about the last time you helped someone. Not for recognition, not because you had to, but simply because you could. Maybe you gave someone your time. You gave someone your presence. You gave someone a piece of advice, a meal, or even a shoulder to cry on. Didn't it remind you of who you really are? See, we live in a world that is obsessed with self-care. And don't get me wrong, you must take care of yourself. Burnout will help no one. All right, but what if I told you that caring for other people is a form of self-care? Because it draws you out of isolation. It reminds you that your life has meaning beyond your own bubble. And that is the kind of fuel that doesn't run out because it multiplies. See, giving is not always grand. It's often ordinary. Sometimes we hold back from helping other people because we think it needs to be big. It needs to be flashy. It needs to be Instagrammable, all right? Like, unless we are donating thousands or millions or starting a non-profit organization, it doesn't count. But listen, and listen to me. Some of the most valuable things you will ever give cannot be captured in a photo. They are small, they are quiet, they are personal. They cannot really be captured, but they are so important. Permit me to say sometimes more important than the grand gesture of giving billions. See, if you give a person a ride to the airport, a listening ear on a rough day, showing up at the hospital for someone, cooking a meal for someone that is hungry, sending a voice note that says, "I'm proud of you, I see you, keep going." That is real service. And sometimes it is the simplest act that plants the deepest seed, all right? Because people don't always remember what you gave, but they remember how you made them feel. And in that process, you are building something in you, a deeper reservoir of empathy, of wisdom, of strength, of joy. See, when you give value, you attract value. See, because I believe you reap what you reflect. Now, I'm not talking about transactional giving. Like, if I help this person, I will get something back. No, this isn't about manipulation. It is about alignment. When you live in such a way that your default mode is to take care of other people, with boundaries, of course, with wisdom, of course, with discernment, of course, the universe, God, life, whatever it is that you believe in, whatever, if it will find a way to pour back into you. You reap what you reflect. You become a magnet for some energy, for the same energy that you give off. You surround yourself with people who care, not because you demand it, not because you not because you are demanding it, but because you demonstrate it. All right, but because you demonstrate it. That is how value flows. Not in silos, not in circles, but it flows like that. You give, you grow, you receive, you repeat. You give, you grow, you receive, you repeat. You give, you grow, you receive, you repeat. Let's be honest. Caring for other people is not always convenient. It is vulnerable. All right. Sometimes it is quite messy. Sometimes it feels like you are pouring into people who don't pour back. And maybe you've been hurt, you've been used, you've been taken advantage of, you've been taken for granted. So now you've closed your heart. You're careful now. You're guarded now. You are distant now. But here's the thing. You don't need to take care of everyone, but you do need to care for someone. Let me repeat that. You don't need to take care of everyone, but you need to care for someone. Isolation is not protection. It is starvation. And the safest way to reconnect to your own value is to give it away. Start small. Rebuild your circle, reignite your generosity, not blindly, not without wisdom, but don't let bitterness or burnout rob you of the beautiful exchange of giving and receiving love, giving and receiving energy, giving and receiving presence, giving and receiving care. Because when you close yourself off, when you close off care, you close off growth. Do you understand me? So this is how I believe you can care with courage. Let me just share some practical things with you as we close today. If you want to take care of other people and find value in the process, do it with courage. All right, not codependency, not martyrdom, but real, strong, heart-led, courageous care. And here is what it looks like. Start with your presence. Sometimes people don't need advice, they don't need solutions, they don't need money. They just need you to be fully present with them. No distraction, nothing. They want your presence. Start with that. Also, listen deeply. When you have the opportunity to listen to someone, listen. The greatest form of care is not the what you say. It is how you listen. When people feel heard, they feel loved. Do you understand me? When people feel heard, they feel loved. And then you ask real questions. That is another way to show that you care. Don't just say, how are you? Ask, what is heavy for you right now? Or what do you need today that will help lighten your load right now? Do you understand me? Those are caring questions that I want you to learn how to ask instead of just saying, how are you? Offer what is in your hand also. That is another form of care. You don't have to be a millionaire to make a difference. What is in your hand right now? Your time, your attention, your skills, your love. That is enough. All right, that is enough. Offer what is in your hand, and also serve people without strings attached. Give not because they deserve it, but because you are a giver. Let that be you. When you are a giver, you give. A giver gives. Do you understand me? Give not because anybody deserves it, but because you give. Do you understand? That is who you are. Let your giving flow from identity, not your ego. Let it flow from your identity. And lastly, And maybe the most important part of this is receive also. Let other people care for you. Let them pour into you. Don't block your blessing because you think you are only supposed to be the strong one. No. Don't be like that. Receiving is part of the rhythm of care. It must flow. It ebbs and it flows. You give and you receive. So receive too. So here's today's mind shift. If you are looking for purpose, connection, joy, or meaning, don't look outside. Look around. Look for who you can serve, who you can support, who you can sit with, show up for, and surprise